Bro, I never thought I see the day where Charlie Kirk is relegated to the position of like a hutch or like a sex pestiny trying to defend the Democratic incompetence. And only because like normally these guys get to have this veneer of independence from the administration because the administration is always giving things that their base wants.
What is going on here?
Charlie Kirk yesterday said he's no longer going to talk about the Epstein stuff and he's going to trust his friends in the government. Remember, what should Charlie's move be if he were just backing Trump? Avoid it or never talk about it? I mean, the best case scenario for Charlie is to never talk about it. But it's impossible for him to never talk about it if Trump is talking about it. Trump, ironically, is breathing life back into the story over and over again with his inability to like let it go, which then obviously provokes response from his most loyal fans. And Charlie, much like myself, cannot be sheltered from that. Like, Fox News can get away with not talking about certain things. Charlie, on the other hand, can't, because it's the biggest issue. And it's going to be such a prominent issue, and he's so accessible as opposed to like a Fox News commentator or a CNN commentator, because it's going to be all over his comments if he doesn't say anything about it. And his goal is to basically be a vessel for Trump and sometimes deliver information about what the base is demanding to Trump, and in other instances, message at the behest of Trump. So he's now stuck in this unique paradigm where he has to not talk about this shit, but then when Donald Trump talks about this shit, well, what are you going to do? You have to address it. Because now Big Daddy, Big Papi is addressing it on the main stage. So he's trying to do the same thing as like Alex Jones almost. But of course he is, whereas Alex Jones is like clearly on the side of the people because he's like more beholden to his audience. Charlie is more beholden to the administration because he has a direct line of communication with the president.
When in regards to Epstein and the messaging around Epstein, I'm going to do my best. I may not land the plane perfectly, but I think I have something to say here that will add some context and some depth to what we are seeing. President Donald Trump repeated what he said this morning on Truth Social. President Trump said basically right now in the press conference, some people are doing the Democrats' work talking about Epstein, and they are stupid people. I'm approximating. He said something similar on his Truth Social this morning, and he calls it...
This is so amazing. Donald Trump directly calling out Charlie Kirk's audience, and then Charlie Kirk having to like do Obama anger translator for Donald Trump is amazing. Yeah, go ahead, big dog. Tell us what he actually meant with this.
The Epstein hoax. Now, before we go any further, I do want to say, big breaking news this morning, John Solomon is reporting that in his sit-down interview with Donald Trump, President Trump has greenlit a special prosecutor to potentially be able to go after the criminal conspiracy around Epstein and all deep state activity. So that is a phenomenal victory. That is something that we should rejoice in. And if that is true, because it's John Solomon, it's kind of like 2 or 3 levels back. But basically going after all things deep state, a deep state prosecutor. That is a terrific development. And I would love to see, you know who I want to see do that? Ed Martin. I think Ed Martin would be a phenomenal deep state prosecutor. So let's kind of just put a part on that. Let's just put a little bit of a little plug on that because we'll get back to it. That's a huge victory. The president deserves credit there. If we get a full deep...
If it's real, I love that. Dog. You got a direct line of communication with the president. Just call him up. Call him right now. What do you mean, if it's real? He straight up texts Donald Trump's children with regular frequency. And it's not just that, but Donald Trump called him personally to be like, hey, cut it out, cut the shit out. No more Epstein talk. What the fuck are you doing? To which his response was, thank you, sir. Please, sir. I apologize, sir. And then he came out with this revelation yesterday that he's went back on clearly, where he was not going to talk about this Epstein stuff ever again.
State criminal conspiracy prosecutor, think basically Robert Mueller for deep state activity, but one of our guys doing it. And interestingly, special prosecutors and the deep state activity actually is interlaced into all of this. So this morning, President Trump posted on Truth Social. I could read the entire thing on Truth Social, but let me just kind of do the best of. You guys can obviously find it on Trump's Truth Social. He says the radical left Democrats have hit pay dirt again, just like the fake and discredited Steele dossier, the lying 51 intelligence agencies, the laptop from hell, which the Democrats swore came from Russia. No, it came from Hunter Biden's bathroom. Even the Russia scam itself, a totally fake and made-up story used in order to hide crooked Hillary Clinton's big loss in 2016 election. These scams and hoaxes are all Democrats are good at. It's all they have. They're no good at governing, no good at policy, and no good at picking winning candidates. Also, unlike Republicans, they stick together like glue. Their new scam.
That's the funniest part about this, by the way. I'm sorry, but the Democrats never stick together. I wish, like, to Donald Trump's credit, and there's obviously like a structural limitation that the Democrats will always face in terms of like disrupting the pre-existing hierarchy, okay, and following through on campaign promises that they made. But like that's such bullshit. Donald Trump, to his credit, is capable of whipping the entire party together to get his legislative agenda across, no matter how evil it is. And he did that already. He got his BBB, Big Booty Bill. He got it across. He called every single person, and he made the boss calls, and he got it done. Everything that I have demanded of the Democratic Party in terms of whipping votes, Trump does every single time when it matters.
Is that we'll forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. And my past supporters have bought into this BS. Hook, line, and sinker. They haven't learned their lesson and probably never will, even after being conned by the lunatic left for the last 8 years. I've had more success in the last 6 months than perhaps any other president in history of our country. That is totally true. And all these people want to talk about with strong prodding by the fake news and success starved Democrats is the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking about our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. Thank you for attending to this matter. Make America great again. Okay, so let's start with this. President Donald Trump is obviously upset. Why is he most upset? I'm going to go through the top two reasons and seek to explain it. He's venting because he has achieved a lot in 6 months against all the odds. Energy prices are going down. The border is hermetically sealed. He passed the big, beautiful bill despite a 3-seat majority in the House of Representatives. He's embarking on mass deportations. He ended a war between Israel and Iran. He took out the Iranian nuclear facilities.
Bro, he started the war. This is the thing that pisses me off about Trump. Aside from all the obvious shit, this is on some super basic shit, like apolitical shit, okay? Forgive me for getting apolitical with it for a brief moment when I'm talking about Donald Trump, who obviously is a political being. Like 90% of his accomplishments that these guys give him credit for are things that he up initially. Like, what do you mean? He stopped a war with Iran. It's like he had the opportunity to never start a war with Iran. Like, it's so goddamn annoying where these people should be like, oh, and he's doing the tariffs. He's doing the tariffs. The economy has rebounded. It's like, yeah, the economy rebounded because it took a nosedive when he started with the tariffs. And then only when he backed away from the tariffs did the economy rebound and got to its previous levels before the dip. I wish I could get credit for shit like this. You know what I mean? I break something and then I threaten to break it further. And then I just simply stop breaking it. I don't even fix it. I just stop breaking it further. And people go, oh, thank God, bro. You are the king. You are so sick. It's like, bro, I started the problem. And then I said I was going to keep accelerating the problem. And then I stopped accelerating the problem. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, thank God. Oh, you are so good. You are so good at your job. That's the Trump method every single time. It's so goddamn annoying.
Ended the India-Pakistan war. He ended the Congo-Rwandan war just in his spare time. He's going after DEI. He is reducing the federal workforce. He is the biggest welfare reform in American history. I could go piece after piece after piece of all of the victory.
Yeah, and then the shit that he actually does accomplish is just horrifyingly bad for his audience, for his voters. Ironically enough, they'll be out here saying like, oh, dude, it's welfare reform. It's sick. It's like, dude, it's going to most people's grandparents. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, say bye-bye to rural hospital networks. It's gone, okay? It's gone. It's over. Like, what good is that? He lied. He said he was not going to touch Medicaid, and then he did this touching of Medicaid. That's what he did. him the money after saying, I'm not going to the money. You're going to make so much money. You're going to keep winning. You're going to say, Mr. President, I'm winning so much. I'm going to say, we're going to keep winning. The money, stop money a little bit, only for the stock market to rebound a little bit. Okay. And then he said he's not going to touch Medicaid, and he's the Medicaid. He also said, no new wars. We're actually stopping wars. Started a new war again, and then quietly ended it, I guess. He said he's going to stop Israel, Palestine, and Russia, Ukraine day one. The audacity. It's like, especially with like Israel, Palestine, like he could do that. Okay. I'm willing to give him a little bit more liberty on the Russia-Ukraine shit because like the primary party responsible for the death and destruction here is Russia. And Russia is a foreign adversary. So like you have pressure points, but you don't have the same liberties that you do and the same power that you do with Israel. You could stop Israel day one, but he didn't do that. And Trump is out here not delivering on any of this shit. And the only things he does deliver on is actually harmful. And his dick riders are just like, hell yeah, baby. He's killing it. He's awesome. He's amazing. Look at the border.
That President Donald Trump was able to achieve. One of the most impactful 6 months ever of any president. So from President Trump's perspective, he is experiencing a pace. He's experiencing a reality that is far different than the first 6 months of Trump 1.0. So President Trump's immediate reaction as someone who is making phone calls to try to end the Russian-Ukrainian war, he's trying to figure out this Jerome Powell thing. He's got agencies of governments to manage. He's turning and probably saying, why is the attention on a guy who has been dead for 6 years? That is probably what President Trump is saying, and I'm synthesizing part of his venting. Here's my piece of advice, guys. Don't take too seriously this whole Truth Social here. I know some people are getting fired up about this. I don't believe he was trying to insult anybody personally. His base, the people who made his movement what it is, I think is what he was pushing back on what he thinks is a misaligned press narrative.
Oh, when he said you guys are stupid for caring about this, he actually meant like something totally different. He just didn't mean that you were. Let's look at the comments. Oh.
From what he wants to see as celebration of all the victories over the last 6 months. However, let me go to why I believe not just like why I care about this and why the base cares about this so much. And then I'm going to kind of connect the dots. Remember where President Trump was at this moment in Trump 1.0. At this moment in Trump 1.0, President Donald Trump was being hunted by Robert Mueller. President Donald Trump basically lost his attorney general at this moment in Trump 1.0. He's very loyal to Pam Bondi for many reasons, one of which is that he does not want to lose another attorney general. He does not want to lose another member of his cabinet this early on.
Dude, he has no option here. Yeah, he's small bean. Why won't you consider Trump's feelings? He'd be sad. Yeah, he has attorney general related trauma. You don't understand. This is quite distressing for Trump.
Secondly, he saw in the summer of 2017 a lot of people jump.
By the end of this Epstein process, Charlie Kirk's Vegeta-ass hairline is going to turn into Dan Bongino's hairline. Non-existent.
Ship and align with the Robert Mueller thing. So President Donald Trump has, within his memory, he saw that his presidency in 2017 was largely taken from him in Trump 1.0 because a lot of people jumped aboard the Mueller bandwagon. And with that, he kind of saw so much of his momentum that he had from the election thwarted. When people demand that he fires Pam Bondi, he hears people demanding that he explode his admin, just like what happened in the first term. So a big question the base has is, why doesn't President Trump care as much as the base cares? So let me connect the two dots together. The base cares about this.
Bro, I never thought I see the day where Charlie Kirk is relegated to the position of like a hutch or like a sex pestiny trying to defend the Democratic incompetence. And only because like normally these guys get to have this veneer of independence from the administration because the administration is always giving things that their base wants. And now they have to just sit there and play catch up and play defense at a time when the base is directly at odds with the party. Awesome. It's amazing. Of course, unlike those losers, he has a direct line of communication with people in prominent positions of power. Those guys are just doing it for free 99 for funsies because they think there's a market for this.
Not as a way to hurt Donald Trump. And this is where I think I think I could be an explainer here, because I think everyone's talking past each other a little bit. We do not care about the story as a way to hurt Donald Trump. In fact, it's the opposite. We love President Trump. We love what he's doing. We actually care about this story because this is a rare opportunity of a sloppy operation by the deep state. The deep state conducted itself in an overly messy, sloppy way. President Donald Trump taught us to drain the swamp. President Donald Trump taught us to want to go after the deep state. So I actually think we're all agreeing on this. President Trump wants...
It's also crazy for a grown-ass man, he's my age, or maybe a little bit younger than me, but he looks a lot older, to be talking about another grown-ass man like this. President Trump taught me. President Trump taught us. He taught us to live. He taught us to love. He taught us to hate. Bro, this is another dude. Like, get his out of your mouth, brother. Holy. Like, what is this treatment that he's getting? He's giving Trump the Jesus treatment. This is cult shit. Oh my God. He's talking about Trump like Trump taught you right and wrong. Okay, he taught you to hate the deep state elite cabal, and now he's defending it. What now? I'm so blue and on. I took 2 weeks off watching the stream, and coming back to seeing how the Trump worshippers talk made me so aware of the genuinely authoritarian fascistic cult way they talk, Hitler vibes. Oh yeah. Now I'm like, I want you to be a democratic socialist. I want you to be saying things about Israel that I'm saying. You know what I mean? Within the confines of permissibility, of course. That's what I'm trying to see. So when you come to me with some wishy-washy bullshit, I don't know.
To have a special prosecutor go after the deep state. We want to have an emphasis on Jeffrey Epstein because, oh, that for certain. He could have been a fabulist, like Mike Benz said yesterday. And maybe he was kind of doing brokering, or maybe he was kind of connecting the people are bringing Epstein to me. The reason why we are caring about this is not trying to win brownie points or not trying to make the liberals or the media care about us. To go full circle, we are caring about the Epstein story because we are afraid that if we do not lance the intelligence community bull that tried to murder him on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania.
He's like, bro, remember when the deep state tried to murder Trump? It's like, okay, well, I guess he's trying to not be murdered now, because he's literally defending the deep state.
Pennsylvania, that tried to take him out with Russia, then that very same deep state actor that spied on him and leaked the phone call of him between Zelensky that resulted in his first impeachment. We're worried the deep state will derail Trump. And we look at the Epstein story as a skeleton key to be able to look under the hood, dismantle and deconstruct the administrative state to protect Donald Trump from his adversaries. What do Andrea Bocelli, Steph Curry, Justin Bieber, and Tim Tebow have in common? All of their mothers were encouraged to end their pregnancies. When a woman faces an unplanned pregnancy, she is often pressured to end her child's life. She wants to make the right choice, but society and those around her are telling her that her baby is not a life. That's where the Ministry of Preborn steps in. Preborn and their network of clinics offers compassionate, loving care to mothers and the support they need to help them choose life, including a free ultrasound. Once a mother hears their child's beautiful heartbeat, she is twice as likely to choose life. If you consider yourself pro-life, it's time to join forces with Preborn. I'm a donor, and you should be too. Together, we can empower women to choose life, empower the truth of motherhood, transforms families and futures. One ultrasound is just $28, and a $140 gift will help to rescue 5 babies. When you donate monthly, you'll receive stories and pictures of lives you helped to save. What? Please dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250.
I'm glad that actually I walked away for this ad, because this is the most terrifying ad I've ever seen in my whole damn life. What the? Aren't you excited that the Piker Broadcasting Service is sponsored by only you with no ad breaks whatsoever?
To elaborate on this a little bit further, to Lance the Boil that tried to impale him, President Donald Trump thinks that if someone is talking about this, they're going against him. And I can understand why he thinks that way, because in Trump 1.0, so many people jumped ship and went aboard the Mueller investigation. So many people jumped off of the Trump movement and thought that Trump was done because of Russia, Russia, Russia. And President Donald Trump clawed himself.
That's not even true. That literally did not happen. Who the jump ship? Open presents. Thank you for the 10 gifted. Just curious, what are your financial ties if you have any? Are you funded purely from subs, ads, sponsors, etc.? Genuinely wondering. What do you think?
To survive after all of the deep state attacks. And Trump is getting wins, and we should be talking about them. The president is very fired up here also because this was all done under this, almost all of the documents and all of the reporting around this was done during James Comey. It was done back in 2007 under George W. Bush. This has been thrown upon his desk. And I'm going to defend the president here on one key thing. He does have a right to be a little bit skeptical and paranoid. And I'm going to try to translate part of the Truth Social as to what I think.
Bro, 11 minutes for 11 minutes, and he still hasn't even gotten into the meat of it. I gamble my mental health in this chat every day. Me too. Yeah. Hidden sponsorship. The best, saying I'm sponsored by steak is saying I'm sponsored by the Republican Party. You know what I mean? I'm actively antagonistic towards this supposed sponsor of mine that I've never actually even flashed the name of. The only time I even talk about it is when I'm railing against it. Yeah, sponsored by steak. Promo code Hasan to get your first $100 in cryptocurrencies free.
Ways they've tried to take out President Trump. He's saying, guys, they could have put a stink bomb in the quote unquote files that will make.
Oh my God, brother. What the? Oh yeah. Trump is just really scared because he's been hurt before by the deep state. So he's just scared that the deep state actually put a stink bomb in the Epstein files to make Trump look bad, by saying he's directly affiliated with Jeffrey Epstein in ways that maybe is even more meaningful than we previously thought.
Me look bad. Honestly, that paranoia is not totally unfounded. On the other side, this is what I'm telling the president, both privately and publicly, is that the base cares about this, not to get you. The base cares about this, not to try to take you out. The base cares about this because they have your back. The base cares about this because they have your best interests at heart. The base cares about this because...
I love that he writes this stuff down and he has to glance down to read it. It's just, it adds to the dishonesty, the overarching dishonesty of his commentary. And also, this is him, bro, this could have been a text message to Donald Trump. This could be a phone call to Donald Trump. You're saying this to him. So why don't you just say this to him in private?
Because we are defending you. And it's not so much about that we care about the person of Jeffrey Epstein. We do care about the victims. But it's not so much that the person of Jeffrey Epstein is a hyper focus. Instead, it is not the person of Jeffrey Epstein, which the president, he's communicating here as if we are obsessed with the creep, the pervert, and the evil, demonic, satanic activity of Jeffrey Epstein. No. We are actually interested in who was he an agent of? Were the same people that were behind Butler, Pennsylvania, the same people that were behind the Russia hoax, were they also the ones that were pulling the strings of Jeffrey Epstein? The same people that were around COVID? We think these are the same actors. But first, here's the breaking, promising news. John Solomon, 352.
You did inform him that they're thinking about appointing a special counsel on this to take over this entire investigation.
Yeah, and he said, I think it's a good approach. Let's just do it. Let's get the trust of the American people. Let's get accountability, and then let's focus on the things that matter.
So he's on board with the situation of getting a special prosecutor and having the Epstein situation put into that, so that can be formally looked
Anything
at.
legitimate that should be looked at.
And really in a criminal context.
He volunteered it, by the way, Steve. I ask about the special, but he immediately volunteers, and then I follow up on it. But he immediately brings up Epstein. Like, just throw that in. Let's get it all answered. I got nothing to hide. I want truth, and I want prosecutions, and I just want the justice system to take care of what needs to be taken care of. It was really a remarkable moment.
It's a phenomenal clip, and I would say Ed Martin as the deep state prosecutor would be a perfect person. Throw Epstein in there, throw the 2020 election there. Why does that matter? And this is why I think we're actually more in agreement than the back and forth here.
How do you think Trump's going to get away with it this time? He's not. I don't think he's going to get away with this. I think he's just going to do some crazy shit to try to.
The reason the base cares about this, again, is because we believe Epstein was an agent of the people that tried to kill Trump and try to destroy Trump's first term. President Trump thinks, though, the people caring about Epstein are part of the people that have been trying to ruin him prior.
Except, no, it won't, dumbass.
Donald Trump is obviously okay with appointing a special prosecutor. Simultaneously, he's fired up about people. He thinks that some people are trying to use this to hurt him. We're trying to use this to save him. Not save him, but to try to protect him. I don't want to say save him, but maybe save him from another deep state coup attempt. So President Donald Trump is in a active posture right now. He is in a place of where he is looking for threats on the horizon. Who can blame him? Play cut 353.
Operated the auto pen, had a policy, which is, by the way, I think the biggest scandal. That's the scandal they should be talking about, not Jeffrey Epstein.
Will you ask Attorney General Pam Bondi to release more documents to finally put this controversy to bed?
Yeah, whatever's credible, she can release. If a document is credible, if a document's there that is credible, she can release. I think it's good. But it's just a subject. He's dead. He's gone. And all it is certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook. And no different than Russia, and all the other hoaxes. They're started by the Democrats, and some Republicans, in this case I was surprised, but they got duped.
Okay, I think he's talking about people on Capitol Hill. He might be talking about Speaker Johnson here that are calling for special investigation or Ghislaine Maxwell, something like that. But we're all talking about the same thing in different ways. Knowing this from privately and public conversations, this is not that hard of a code to crack. The president says, "Why are you so focused on the person of Epstein? We're doing all this amazing stuff. This guy's a creep. I kicked him out of my club. I don't know. Why are you so fired up about this?" Where our counter is, we're actually not that interested in the person of Jeffrey Epstein. We're not. What we are interested in.
Why does he keep saying that? No, we are interested. What the why does he keep saying we're not that interested in the Jeffrey Epstein, the person? It's why does he keep angling it like that? It's weird. No, man, people are interested in what he did and who he did it with. That's precisely what people want to know. Oh my God.
Interesting in, was he a representative of the shadow government? We all want to focus on the president's big wins happening right now, on things that matter for all 340 million Americans. And he's doing an awesome job of that. And he is. And the emphasis is not, it's all about the person of Jeffrey Epstein. The reason why the grassroots is mad, and the reason why you guys are fired up about this, and the reason why you guys are emailing me, freedom@charliekirk.com, is you say, no, Mr. President, this guy is it is a skeleton key. It's a chance for us to look under the hood. It's a chance for us to say, whoop, this is the thread. Thank you. The deep state made a mistake. They were sloppy. They were messy. How did Epstein die? Where did he get his financing from? Was he a representative of a foreign government? Everything.
Which foreign government would that be, Charlie? Charlie, remember, is broaching on big no-no territory here. Okay? even making inferences to Jeffrey Epstein being an agent of a foreign government, which is, of course, we all know which government that is. They're not talking about Zimbabwe, okay? They're talking about Israel, dog. That's what they're talking about, okay? And that is a major no-no for any Republican. Even NPR calls the Mossad theory anti-Semitic law. Exactly. NPR's like, guys, the multiple former prime ministers of Israel were hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein because they love his vibes, okay? Please don't say that there was any involvement with intelligence. It was because of the vibes alone. What are you saying? They just really loved he was incredible company at cocktail hour.
We look at Epstein as an introductory story to all of the other elements that tried to take you out. It's not that we are obsessed with some people are online. They're like very into like who Epstein was personally. There's been plenty of documentaries about that. That's not what is animating this. That's not what's firing a lot of people up in this audience. Don't get too fired up about the Truth Social and President Trump ranting and venting about this. And let me tell you why. It's that President Donald Trump went through an entire first term. He went through an entire term where people were constantly turning on him for fake stuff. Constantly turning on him.
I mean, he didn't always hang out with the rich and powerful on account of the pedophilia real question. Yet, no, I don't. Didn't he always hang out with the rich and powerful on the account of pedophilia real question? No, he wasn't like literally doing pedophilia every time there was like a rich and powerful person around him. Okay. And I'm like, I don't think that. And I don't think every single person, because he had adult victims that he trafficked as well. My point is we want evidence as to what the involvement was with all of these other people who definitely did engage in illicit behavior, especially considering that many of them were openly hanging out with him after he had already been arrested for sex trafficking of minors one time and went to prison for sex trafficking of minors. So especially the people that hung out with him after, before and after being the most significant part of this, like post early 2000s when he goes to jail with a sweetheart plea deal, the people that still hung out with him after that happened, there's got to be a level of like awareness there.
And so he says, wait a second, like he basically thinking he knew Jeffrey Epstein. He got in a big fight with Jeffrey Epstein. He kicked him out of his club. He's mistrustful of all of these different elements here. At the same time, the message that I want the president to hear, both privately and publicly, is that you in the grassroots, the emphasis and the focus on this is, partly because of all the kind of back and forth of, is it up, is it down? Also, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, I guess you could call it.
He's so woke. He's saying Trump's got PTSD.
But I think part of this is just a messaging misunderstanding. And again, emails are flooded.
Oh my God. Who's he talking to? At first I thought this was a message to Trump. Now I'm thinking this is just a message to himself. Like he just keeps reiterating it over and over and over again. He just keeps repeating this over and over again because he wants to believe the lies that he is telling.
In right now, supportive of the way that we are articulating it.
Yeah, right, dude. No shot.
That's where John Solomon says we're going to get a special prosecutor on this. I think it's phenomenal. What I'm going to say to the president, if I see him soon or if we talk on the phone, or I'll say the same thing on the show. There's no private agenda here. Is that, Mr. President, the emphasis on Epstein is truly the best intentions of your most loyal followers, where we're not trying to score points with the CNNs or the New York Times. It's truly because we care about you. It's because we want what's best for the presidency. And one of the core campaign promises that I know.
I hope this is a real wake-up call for at least some of the Republicans that the people that they thought were independent actors are very clearly not. Okay? Charlie and many others actually realized this. That's why they're trying to play this wishy-washy both sides narrative where it's oh, well, President Trump, when he called you stupid, he didn't mean it. These guys only care about proximity to power. That's it. They don't care about your wishes. They don't care about your interests. They've lied to you about every single thing up until this moment. And hopefully this division for many of the right-wingers will be a moment of awareness that when they tell you, like if they're lying about this in such an obvious way, what else have they lied to you about is a question you should be asking yourself. If you're a right-winger and you're watching me right now and you're like, oh, I hate this commie bastard, this piece of shit, whatever, you know, normally I got a brave truth teller that I lean on. And these guys seemingly, maybe they up a little bit here. Implying Republicans have any capacity for any self-awareness, like, or like a Jake Tapper almost at CNN, a Van Jones at CNN. Like Van Jones is not going to suck up to the Republicans, right? Or a Matt Iglesias is not going to suck up to the Republicans, at least now. But they will do the sucking to the Democrats. Like they've picked a side. And they're a loyal servant of said side. And they will very rarely separate themselves from that side. The independent media version for the Democratic Party of this is like a Harry Hasan or an Olivia Juliana or people like that, or Hutch, even though they're not even like directly related to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party doesn't want anything to do with them because they're more old school than the Republicans are. Republicans do rely on like independent media as a ecosystem, as opposed to the Democrats that haven't until this election cycle. And now they're going to probably try to find a bunch of people who are on board and loyal servants